Day. So Friday's usually kind of a chill day. If there is going to be any trading, I certainly rarely ever hold on to a position over the weekend, right? So I trade primarily Forex for those who are new to the channel, to any of these videos. And Forex is basically foreign currencies, dollar versus yen, euro versus dollar, things like that. And that closes over the weekend. It runs 24 hours a day, Monday through Friday. It actually starts on Sunday, where I live, Sunday afternoon. I imagine it opens, I think it would be, is that Sunday morning in like kind of the Sydney area, if I'm not mistaken? Either way. And then it shuts down in my Friday afternoon. So all of that to say, actually, gosh, I think it's got to be a Monday morning when that opens in Sydney. At any rate, it's closed over the weekend, and I don't hold positions over that time, because what happens is events can stack up over the weekend. Things can happen, and then as the market is not moving, pressure can build up because of whatever events happen. And then on Sunday, when the market opens up, all of that pressure can be released into the market, and price can go against or for me. Either way, it tends to get pretty wild and just kind of like stop me out of my trades. And it tends not to be a good thing for me. So that is basically what's going on. That's why I don't do much on a Friday in the way of trading. And if I do, it's just kind of quick ins and outs. Also, I must not be the only person doing that, because volatility tends to drop off on Fridays. So let's go ahead and, I haven't done this in a couple of shows here. I'm going to grab the link and I'm going to share that out. And that way we can have a few people from our Friendly Rogue Discord come over and join us. Let's see here. Got a link. And I'm going to roll over to Discord. At least we got one viewer. Wow, one whole viewer! We really have not marketed this YouTube channel out there. It's just, really, it's aimed at people who are our friends and know about us. But I am adding listeners. I think I'm adding them a few a week, which is, I guess that's how things start, and then it kind of snowballs. So that's interesting. Let's see here. But nowadays, you really have to do stuff. You have to know the algos, and I got one of our gentleman listeners is like, "Hey, I can give you some clues on that," and I'm like, "Yeah, sure." All right, so at everyone, all right, come join us live. All right, well, and if you're not in the Rogue Discord, you want to join us, just let's just say you're watching this after the fact or somehow. Obviously, you've already found the YouTube station, but you're certainly allowed to come in, join us live, ask questions. We can answer questions about charts, things like that. We tend to prioritize our private member questions, which may not even appear on this chat. They may happen in our Telegram. And but if we don't have any questions from our private members, we'll go ahead and answer questions from the public. So first, I'm going to go ahead, share screen, go right into the content here. Real quick, just throw up our QR code, actually, so people can come find us. Our links are also on YouTube, stuff like that. And while that's up, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing the screen and looking at the data in the charts, the data. Okay, so there it is, algofactory.tech. That's our website. Zap that QR code, it takes straight to it. Now what we're looking at here is forexfactory.com, and there are different solutions to gather the data that come out, but looks like at 8 a.m. my time, that's 10 a.m. EST, we will see the revised University of Michigan consumer sentiment, which is basically what it sounds like, how consumers are feeling about things, which is important. It appears that the PCE price index came out as expected. So not, that was 5 minutes ago. And that information was not, like I say, it was as expected. So it's probably not going to move the market that much. It might be that a little bit of money that was on the sidelines might have came back into the market at that point, just waiting for that number. because uncertainty will keep money on the sidelines, which will then cause the markets to be very, chilled out, if you will, right? It's just when money is not going into the market, volatility is low, the markets don't move. So that is that. Let's take a look at the euro, which is kind of a really good barometer for the whole market. Here, let's go ahead and zoom in a bit so everybody can see the numbers. We're going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin. We actually, excuse me, I'm sorry about the cough in there. We actually have a cough button. I didn't use it. You got to all hear me cough. That's great. And sniff. So let's see here. We got a question from K-Man. K-Man. All right, that's a crypto question. We'll get into it. Probably I might do that here in this main session because it's information that we more or less have covered. So it is going to be good. It doesn't hurt to cover it once more. If I were to look at the 1 minute chart here, which is really convenient, I didn't know I could just this button here. Wow, look at that. Nice. Good job. I usually would go down to this right corner and click those expand and contract buttons, but TradingView has put them right on the chart, and I don't know how long they've been there, but I just discovered it now. We're just a 5 minute chart, so we're going to roll to the 1 minute chart, and we're just going to see if we can get some granular data on watching money come back into the market due to the announcement finally being over, and it just isn't very much movement. And you see it here. You see this wick. This is on the 1 minute chart. This is a 1 minute candle. So this candle up to top to bottom lasted 1 minute. Okay, and we can see that price really just as it went a little haywire for a moment, and then it's just going to continue to consolidate. There's just not a lot going on, and that's fine. I mean, look, it was probably wise for me not to try to take any positions at this time, because you can see that if I was in, say, like a long position, I would have been knocked out of it. That does clue me into for the very, very near term that price is going to go long. And we do have some clues based on the algos as well. But whatever long we're about to see is probably going to be minimal, just temporary, because I do believe it is going to end up going short. We're in the middle of a bit of a consolidation that's ending or going to end. It's really hard to know which way it's going to end, except the algos are telling me that price is pretty bearish. So I was kind of looking at whether I would take a long or a short yesterday, and I could have taken this long that you see here. I could have bet on the price going up around this time, but it fell short of where my targets were, and it's just my algos were not telling me that it was a good long to take. My algos were telling me that price was going to fail, swing failure pretty quickly. Swing failure means that I'll show you what that means. Price was going to head up, and I would have needed price to go a bit higher for this trade to make sense. Would have had to go, I think, like up here for this trade to make sense for me, but my algos told me that it probably wasn't going to. So far it's failed. It doesn't mean that it won't go like this before it goes down. It could very well, but at the moment we just don't know. And this is something that, again, I rely on the algorithms, and the algorithms right now are saying this is not a long to take. So now that can change, and if it does change, I will know about it, and I will take advantage of what I can. But as of now, what I expect to see, and I'm going to jump to a 3-hour time frame, is now we're kind of looking at price going back the whole month, right? And it appears as if price will want to break, and Ray and I were talking about this in the group. It appears as if price will want to go ahead and break this support here, right? So again, for those who might be kind of new, the way we determine supports is where price has had swing failure in the past. So this is a swing failure is another word for like pivot, like it was swinging down and then it failed and headed back up. Swinging up, failed, headed down. These are all swing failures, right? And these create structure. And so looking at the way that structure has been created here, it looks as if this support at the moment is holding, but algorithmically right now, I don't know how long it will hold. And I think the play is going to be to look for a break below and then go short on that. And it will depend on the volatility, but I may enter a small position at the break. But that's not usually the way that I do things. I usually wait for, I mean, I could go right at the break, that's fine. Or I could wait for a slight pullback and then go short, right? And then, oh wow, this thing's really off today. And then probably look at this old swing failure, this old support down here, this old pivot point, right? As a way to measure where I may exit the trade. All right. So, and this being the 3 hour, I might find, I may find a few trades in that time. You could probably get a few day trades in there, and it probably won't happen until Monday or Tuesday. I'm expecting price right now. What I think will actually happen is this, and it's hard to say until it happens, but given the lack of volatility, given this double kind of support right here, you could look at this as like sort of a double bottom scenario, kind of. What I'm expecting a price to not just right away break through this lower 1.05229. Sure, did I predict it would head back down? That is correct. Do I think it will break eventually? Yeah. Could it break right away? Sure. But I think that given we have two separate pivot points and really almost like, a little bit more structure here with these other ones, I think it's going to probably play around in this area at least a little while longer and then head down. That's what I think will happen. But again, I'll be relying on the algos to tell me what's happening with that. That's what I'll be relying on. And I may, if the algo tells me to, there may be an opportunity to actually go long. This could happen, right? I'm just waiting on the algos. That's it. I'm going to refresh the screen because if you notice, every time I place those arrows, they get shifted way to the right. And that's an issue with this platform. Now it might simply be my browser, my computer. I'm not saying it's TradingView. I love TradingView, completely endorse it. Powerful tool, but that does happen, and it has happened consistently. So let's see if this happens now that I've refreshed the screen. Remove. Let's go here. So TradingView is a thing where you have to kind of monkey with it to really learn its quirks. Just like anything else on a computer. It's just time on the screen. Right? Screen time is everything. So let's see what happens. If I do this, no shift to the right, no shift to the right. All right, so refresh might be the answer to that question. All right, well, that being the case, we're going to hang back. All right, good. We got some people watching now on YouTube. Go ahead and say what's up. Thank you for doing that. Like, subscribe. Hit the notification bell, all that stuff they always tell you whenever you're watching YouTube. By the way, if you all want to help the YouTube algos, go ahead and after the show, throw some comments up there. I know we got at least one listener doing that for me, and I really appreciate that. So, and that's one of March's buddies is doing that. So, to the question, and by the way, Grill is going to be here shortly. He texted me. He'll be here within 15 minutes or so. So you can, always have questions for the gorilla. And again, we do have, after this is over in 15 minutes, 16 actually, after this beginner's live lab is over, what we do is we will around once a week. This week we had twice, but about once a week we have what's called the drips. We had them yesterday, we had them Monday. Usually it's on a Thursday. That's when we try to do them. V the Gorilla actually is somebody who works pretty much in the upper echelons of finance. He's got a group of, we'll just say top men, just, guys that are huge in the business, and they have a pretty good, like their fingers on the pulse of what's going on. Since I've been following the Gorilla, he's very often correct on a lot of things, especially with the macro, especially with like, hey, what's going to happen next year? So, and then he'll take information that he gets that he is not able to share anywhere else. He will share it here, and he'll do that during the private session. And that happens again every weekday. The private session itself happens every weekday, Monday through Friday, except for federal holidays, and it happens at 9 a.m. EST, and it goes for an hour. And of course, people are asking questions in there about charts and, algos. Sometimes I'll actually take somebody's algo that they're building, and I will go ahead and like spiff that up. I'll see if I can find a way to squeeze more profit out of it. I've taken people's algos and I've doubled their profitability. So more than that. Friday salutations. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that. All Okay, back to the content, commercial over. Question from K-Man. I am looking, and I'm reading off of our private group here. He asked, about 2.5 hours ago. I'm looking to sell Rose/Vet in this run up and then scoop them at a lower price. If you get a chance to look at KAS, that's Caspa, I would appreciate that. That's just another chart request. I'm looking for a good short entry. So here's the thing about it. What's going to happen right now is going to be completely dependent on Bitcoin, right? So with Bitcoin, Bitcoin is going to determine what happens to all the other cryptos, and that's typical. That's just how the crypto market works, right? We did a whole class on Bitcoin dominance, which is actually going to tell you a lot on that. Let's see here. Can I take this long? Not yet. I should be able to, but I was looking for a possible long on the AUD USD, but I'm not seeing what I need to see. Shucks. All right, so no, gosh, algos are fighting. Let's go ahead and bring up Bitcoin before I start to get into trading. All right, so Bitcoin obviously having this big run up. If you want to know my opinions on the big run up, we were pretty vocal about that on yesterday's shows, whether it be this show or the Rogue show, any of that. So what I do have mapped out here on this chart, let me go, let's see, 5 days weekly. So let me go to a lower time frame. I'll go to the daily time frame. I'm going to go to a time frame where each of these candles is, let's go with, we'll go with the, one, basically this is the daily time frame. Each one of these candles is a day's worth of price action, basically, right? So one of the problems that we're going to have here is, we don't need this anymore. I was testing another indicator. The move up here seems to be widely news related, right? And it was not real news, or at least it was half real news. It had to do with ETF and, oh, we're going to have an ETF or we're not. I mean, it's just, there's a ticker for it, BlackRock this. Well, I kept seeing the news being like countered. Oh, it's not real. Oh, it's real. Oh, it's not real. It was going back and forth. And so in talking to the gorilla, there's some other information I cannot talk about here, but long story short, it seems as if this rally is going to end before, not definitely, we don't know about anything, but definitely maybe before 38,000, right? To take a quick look at the liquidity maps, we're going to do that. And K-Man, this is leading to your question about the alts. So, sit tight on that. Just to keep it like real brief, until Bitcoin drops, then probably the alts won't drop. Okay. And when Bitcoin drops, the alts will probably drop precipitously. Okay. So that's just the thing to understand. And in a scenario like this, Bitcoin is going to either like drop quickly or drop quickly. There's a very low probability it's just going to slowly kind of go down. And when it does that, the alts are going to take a hit. Now, it doesn't mean that, there is always a slight possibility that, in fact, the alts will drop slow, or Bitcoin will drop slowly, and so the alts. That can happen. Anything can happen in markets, right? Everything can go to zero tomorrow. Like, there's no definite understanding of the future. But to look at the liquidity, just looking at this liquidity map right now, here at 36,000, is this zoomed in? Let's see. Let's make this so y'all can see the numbers. Okay. Ooh, that's an ugly bit of situation here. Let's see if I can. This is going to be hard for you to read. So, and that's just because I've zoomed in so far. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. See if that helps. Yeah. Okay. So right here at 36.6, say from 36.3 to 36.6, there's some liquidity, right? And then there's liquidity at 38.3 and just basically 38,000 and 37.8. I will, if there is a move up, and that's a big if, it could be done. I think it might well be done. But right now, as it stands, if there's a strong move up, I'd say 36.2 to 36.5 is the max. And I'm not convinced it's even going to go up there. Like it doesn't look that likely. But then again, who knows? Maybe, there's a couple. I mean, I'm basing that on just the liquidity itself, right? So what do we say? 36.6 to 36.8, I think, did we say? I'll have to review that real quick to make sure I've got that right. Where's my Kingfisher? And this is the kingfisher.io. So this is a great tool. I've talked a lot about it. Go check it out. I'll throw a link up if you all want to use that. I'm going to put this link in the chat here on YouTube. If you're interested in Kingfisher, go ahead and use that link and you get a discount. That's if you want to use it. I mean, you can actually use this for free, but it's a lot nicer if you pay for it. So you have unlimited, looks and things like that. I'm not going to go too deep into Kingfisher right now. 36.2 to 36.6. Okay, let's fix that on the chart. 36.2 to 36.6. Okay, so this is basically where it is. Basically, right? It's not an exact zone. It doesn't need to be. So if there is another move up, right, I would expect it to go to here, because once price gets to like 38,000, and this comes from the Gorilla's understanding of things. There's kind of a 3s and 8s things with crypto. Once it starts to hit 3s and 8s, it will, like, it may continue. So based on that, based on what I'm seeing, and based on the overall charts and algos, if it pops up, it might grab some liquidity up here, it might not. So Bitcoin tends to do the following. It tends to do these in a scenario like this, in a big pump. It tends to do like a Bart head, where it'll kind of go like this and then head down, right? And then these lines I've drawn are liquidity from the last time I looked at the chart, so we might have to kind of revise this. But there's a decent chance of price kind of, playing around in this area. It could head straight down to here. It could actually bounce off here and then go up here and then down to there. It could go up here and then down. Like, there's a lot of different things the price can do. But eventually, and I mean by I don't know, let's just say, I'd say by the 3rd week of November, I would expect price to be down below 30K. Like, that's what I expect. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. But here's the thing. Look, you have a lot of liquidity sitting down at 29.9, 30,400. And then you have quite a bit here at 29.2 and 27.4 and 26.5 and all along. There's just a lot of liquidity. Like 23, I know 23,000 is a number that a lot of people are kind of stuck on as far as how low price will go. Now, this liquidity chart, this can change. This is all based on people whose positions are on Binance right now. And it's going to be pretty much the same, pretty much across the board of the different exchanges. You can spend more credits to find out, like, you can get like a multi-exchange look. But Kingfisher has Bitfinex, OKX, Bybit, BitMEX, and BitGet, and, all on there, and you can get them all together, and you can get them for like a lot of different cryptos. A lot of different cryptos are on here. So it's a beautiful, beautiful tool. And I'm only using like 5% of this tool. There's this GEX Plus, which I don't have time to explain it, but it's a way of looking at options to figure out what, how things are supported as far as the options traders. And that's a big, big clue as to the way things are going to go, especially in a day like today, where price has kind of reached a temporary sort of equilibrium point. So when, and I say when as a most likely scenario, so chances are this is going to happen. And if that happens, meaning price heading down in a precipitous manner, whether it's from here, whenever price does this, whether it does anything before that or not, also going to take a nice fat dump downwards. Okay. So K-Man, the way to, if you're going to sell altcoins, then you're going to want to sell them before that happens. When is that going to happen? Anytime between this very second and probably mid to late November. That's the best I can give you. And there's no other answer than that. That's it. So if Bitcoin hangs out in this area, right, you're probably going to see a move up in some alts. Like during this time, even if Bitcoin's just hanging out up high, there's a decent chance alts are going to continue to move up during that period. A lot of moon boys, Bitcoin's staying up. Oh, it's staying up. It's going to keep going. So basically, what I can do is take a look at Kaspa Okay. Understanding that when the bottom falls out, the bottom falls out, right? There's no way to really know when that's going to happen. You know, so if and this chart that I'm looking at goes like back, I don't know, several months. So it's really hard to like judge what's going to happen with it. And by the way, this chart, Caspa looks rather bullish. Now, this is a bullish ascending triangle. So let's just pretend for a moment there was no like Bitcoin dominance issue. Let's pretend for a moment that Bitcoin could not drag this down, because there are alts that are defying Bitcoin. INJ, Injective Protocol, seems to be doing so, like this whole year. I know Cool Cat is really aware of which coins are kind of doing that. So if I were to actually chart this out, then I would be, and by the way, ignoring the issue with Bitcoin, the way I would look at this is a legit bullish ascending triangle. It's a beautiful chart. In fact, I would see if I can quickly knock this out, because we're about to roll to the private, and I want to have this out before the private show. I probably would have this up here. Okay, maybe like right here. These things are never really precise, but that's pretty much how I would draw that triangle. And again, if we were to ignore the possibility of the issue with the Bitcoin dominance, then I would probably go, I would go bottom, lowest point to the top of the triangle, and then back down. That's our fib extension tool. We've talked about that a lot in the last week. And I'd be looking at some, because there's at least not in this chart, there aren't any, prices above here. So it seems as if this is a pretty new coin. I can look over on MaxC, but I doubt the chart's going to look any different. And I'd be front running these fib levels. That's where I would be taking profit. But that's if there's a breakout. If you're looking to sell something and you think Bitcoin's going to take it down soon, I would, if that's the thesis, if you think Bitcoin's going to drag this down, then I'd be selling as close to this top part as possible. And then if in fact it breaks above, one could, and again, this is what I would do, so you got to do your own research and make your own decision. We're not giving investment advice. But if it broke above, I would maybe look for a pullback and buy like that. And even if that pullback's in a very low time frame, it might actually be really quick. Or if you are more aggressive, you could simply buy the breakout. But the trick is it going to break out and fake out and head back down? This is on a daily chart. So on this chart, when price broke above here, of course, this didn't really exist, but like say right here on this October the 23rd, so a couple days ago, when price broke up here, it probably stayed up there for, I don't know, 15 minutes, 2 hours. It's hard to tell on this chart. And then it got pushed back down. So how are you going to know that breakout's legit? Is it a fake out breakout? Well, I'd say that if the candle closed above this line, right? And especially ideally, it would actually close above this right here, that structure. That's when I would be kind of comfortable. If a daily candle closed above that, then I might buy the next bar market, meaning as soon as the next candle opens, and then perhaps look for the long, or even look for a pullback and buy that. So, but again, that's assuming that Bitcoin is not going to drag Caspar down, right? So let's see here, VeChain, Oasis Protocol. We'll take a look at those in the private group. The Gorilla usually is on here, even if he's not going to show up until the private. A lot of times he'll come on here and we'll get to say hello and goodbye to YouTube, but it looks as if he is going to show up a tad late. Well, a lot of times what's going on with the Gorilla is that he's got a lot of business overseas. So when he wakes up, he's kind of catching up with his overseas people. So, and again, his commitment to Algo Factory, and really mine, is not to start until now. I added on this free show as a way to kind of help people who are beginners ask beginner questions, so we can kind of cover more advanced concepts during the private, or at least have more time to do so. However, if you are a beginner and you are in the private group that starts at this time, and you didn't have a chance to get your question answered, you can ask beginner questions in the private group. That's not a problem. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and throw up the QR code. Listen, this is a wonderful opportunity. What we do is we teach people, if you don't know how to trade, we give you the basics and we point you in the right direction, and we're here for you. I'm in that chat sometimes all hours of the night and day. I don't really get a lot of sleep, and that's fine. It's my nature. But at the same time, even if you were to ask something, which is while I'm asleep, I could get to it when I'm awake, like I did with K-Man today. So please come on in. If you are watching this and you're not a part of our group, you can still ask questions in the chat and I can answer them. And we're helping a lot of people out. We got people who are already building their algos, people who have never traded once before, and they got the basics of trading. We have people who are almost done with their first algo and their back testing. So we're really making some progress. Please come join us. That price right there, $49.99, is worth probably, I don't know, it's actually probably closer worth the $300 based on our competition, maybe even more. And we are going to raise the price once we get a certain amount of people in. So if you want to get that price, and that price will be grandfathered in as long as you don't let your membership lapse with us. You'll be able to keep that $49.99 for this tier of service. So that's one thing I recommend heavily. If you are interested in coming to do this, get in while it's cheap. All right. Much love. We're jumping off here. We're going to go to the private stream.